We're back. We've been picked up by our sponsors for another year.
Isn't that something?
That's right.
Yeah.
Which does us.
Yeah, don't think it was easy.
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't sure if I wanted to do it.
I'm hungry. Let's eat something. We are at
This
the
is
local
exciting.
house
The local
restaurant and bar.
house on Michigan Avenue in Arnold, Missouri. Some tasty
Good stuff.
food at a reasonable price.
I'm hungry. Come on.
That's not bad coverage. That's not bad coverage right now. That's decent. That's decent. Nice. Little fill in there and a little fill in there. I really.
What are you talking about?
Well, she said my hair looked full today. I wanted to see how full. That looks pretty good.
We are at
This
the
is
local
exciting.
house
The local
restaurant and bar.
house on Michigan Avenue in Arnold, Missouri.
Behind the Schnooks.
Ooh, behind the Schnooks. What do they got going on back there?
What we were just saying. How hard do you think it would be for the three of us for a reasonable amount of money, but we're the only people.
Okay.
Could we get something into space? Build something that gets into
You mean
space.
like beyond the atmosphere, like break the atmosphere, get something into space?
Like
Whatever.
a satellite.
No,
No, but
I
you
mean,
got to get out of the
just
atmosphere because
whatever
this
the-
is space and we're in space.
no, whatever
I'm in
the
space right
definition-
now. Earth is in space.
Whatever the definition of space is.
I think it's 50 miles if you're an astronaut.
No.
It's not
we'll have to
50.
look it up.
50
No.
miles sounds like a
I'll bet
lot.
it's like 2 miles.
Yeah, it's not 50 miles. Not 2
Well,
miles
it's not
either.
2 miles.
No, it's like 10 miles.
No, it's like you remember when the guy parachuted from space?
Yeah,
he was at like 50,000
No,
feet
it
or
was
something.
like 120,000.
120,000 feet.
Yeah, so I mean, and
Do you think we
5,280 feet per mile.
Build something that gets.
Times 10.
And then we got to discuss if he was injured on the job while he was doing it. What happens if an astronaut gets injured on the job?
Well, I think
sure
he
they
worked
have
for
a
Red
lot-
Bull, so he probably got work comp. So it says the U.S. definition is about 50 miles.
Whoa, excuse me. It seems like I've heard that before.
Yes. So do you think?
It seems like a lot. I think we could all agree on that.
No,
But
do you
listen,
think
give the
that
man
the
his
three-
props.
Can we all agree
Give him
that
his props. No,
Yes,
it's
always.
on recording.
1 minute
You
ago.
did?
You know what?
It just sounded like a lot.
And I was belittled.
You know what? I'll double down. I think you're going to be right again. When the guy parachuted from space for Red Bull, how high was he?
120.
I know that's what you said, and I think you're going to be right.
This is exciting. We all like to be proven right. It's an exciting thing.
128,000 feet.
Wow, you were very close,
So,
but unfortunately, you missed it. No, that you did amazingly
Now,
well.
That was
I didn't even know a
you-
guy did that.
do
so.
you think
Yeah.
that the three of us could, for a reasonable amount of money, call it $5,000, but it's only the three of us,
Yeah.
10,000.
build
Could we build something
Of course not.
that makes it to space? Well, I don't know.
You
Could a
Are you
balloon?
kidding me?
Could a balloon get that high?
No.
No, balloons can go up. I mean, that's how the guy did the Red Bull thing. He was on a balloon.
Oh, so then I
Balloons,
think
a large filled balloon, given enough time, can rise up very high.
See, I'm starting to think we could get something into space.
Eagle is on the moon.
But why don't we just say we did?
What are we going to send them?
Well, you know what? Honestly, come to think of it, hold on a second.
Okay, you're coming around.
Well, yes, because now I'm thinking, let's say you took a gun, but with like a very powerful weapon,
yeah.
long range. Those bullets travel at an incredible speed. If you shot
a
straight
bullet?
up, I'm just
No,
saying,
not
shot
50
straight up in the
miles.
air. I mean, I don't know.
The bullets will go maybe
A couple
You
miles.
hear
Take a look.
snipers.
But snipers aren't shooting straight up. They are shooting
No, but that
across.
makes it harder because you got gravity.
Right. So, well, go ahead, look it up.
You know what's interesting? And
How high can you shoot a bullet?
I will do that in a second. I will tell you this, though, and I think we've talked about this before. What's amazing about people who are shooting long distances, I know a guy who competes in that, and he'll shoot at targets that are like, I don't know, a mile away or something like that. But when they do that, in order to adjust for the fall,
Right,
they have to shoot it basically over the arch. Like it's that high for it to then come down and hit the target. It's unbelievable.
Everything is trajectory.
I don't know if it's quite that, but yeah, they do have to shoot high because it drops.
You call my friend a liar?
Yeah. basically.
He may be.
Today's Terry's day for being right. He's 2 for 2, so I'm not going to
He's
go
always
up against
right about
him.
stuff like this, and I never understood this growing up. How he knew all these facts from
reads.
watching
He reads.
wrestling.
Yeah.
I'm watching wrestling. I'm not getting any of these
commercials.
facts.
He was picking up a book.
I read books.
We are looking at something called the Italian Stallion and a French dip and a steak Philly, but that's not what I was holding out there before. I was holding a meatball sandwich. I think there is a steak Philly. It also says a twisted mac and cheese and a local house burger. We're all over the map.
You said this is some specialty of theirs. It
Mac
looks like
and cheese.
macaroni and cheese pizza.
Okay, well,
Oh,
a pizza tizer. I didn't realize we were pizza tizing.
You can just put Tizer behind whatever you want.
because I'm looking at looks like macaroni and cheese and some bacon
Yeah.
on a thin crust pizza. I mean,
A little starchy for me.
I mean, you can't really go wrong with it. It's like a lot of things you like that they were all touching on the plate, and you just went with it.
What is starchy?
Well, 'cause-
I mean, I
but-
know it's starch.
It's bread, it's pasta.
Oh, that's what you define
It's
as
not,
starch?
I mean, it's not like, I don't want to put a mashed potato sauce on pasta. Too many,
What's a mashed
for me.
potato?
exactly. Like mashed potatoes, another starch.
Yeah.
And
you
yet, I
mean
love
mashed
gnocchi.
potato sauce, just pouring mashed potatoes out of.
This is starch on starch. And it's too much for me, although it's delicious, I'll tell you that. I will give them that. It is good. It's just not for me. But I think the camera will show that I did take more than one bite.
But
What are those
as-
What do you got there? What is that?
But we're true
What is that sandwich?
That's the local house burger. It looks like it's got fried onions
It's
on
got
it.
a juicy half-pound burger
Looks like
topped
it's got
with
some
fried
bacon.
onion straw, Provel cheese, crispy bacon, drizzled with sweet barbecue sauce.
Couldn't decide which knife to go
It does look really nice. And I will say this, I am starving. I didn't eat today, except I had some just like little gummies, like candy.
I had a few of those candies you gave me,
So
too.
you're high. Is that
No, they weren't THC gummies.
never
That's only for bedtime.
No, you gave me those
Yeah,
cherry.
those are pretty good.
Yeah, they are pretty good.
Does it
They're like
affect
Swedish
your
fish.
dreams?
Yeah, you don't get any.
Really?
Yeah, when I use THC to go to sleep, maybe I'm dreaming, but I never have any memory of any dream if I
speaking of
use THC.
Sleeping. I wear an Aura ring.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
An Aura ring. It tracks your sleep. A lot of
The
stuff.
doctors say those things are just not worth anything.
Then
But
doctors
how
aren't
many
worth
doctors?
anything.
There's
That's
millions
nuts.
of doctors. You're telling me
So-
they're all saying it's getting health bad is a bad
They're all
thing?
saying it at the same time, actually.
Ooh, that's crazy.
Had you ever
Anyway,
hear that noise in your head?
That
so
buzzing.
last night,
Look at that. Bacon.
I am pretty sure
Beautiful.
I woke up this morning. I thought I was going to have an off the charts sleep score because I am fairly certain that I went to sleep and I did not wake up until the morning, which I never do. I never sleep through the night. I'm at least up once, at least for a second. Nothing. 70 sleep score.
That's
that
terrible.
bad?
Yeah, it's not good.
Not good.
Not terrible, but it's not good.
It's not good at all.
You know what?
Below average, certainly for me, but man, this weekend I put up an 80 and an 88.
As you get older,
No, it was 84 and an 88.
you find that when you get a good night's sleep, and unusually, which basically is how many times did you get up, that you don't feel any better the next day.
Oh, that's not true.
I don't. Well, you're not my age.
Yeah, maybe you're not doing whatever you can, and I think I know.
I think I'm doing whatever I can.
No, you're definitely not.
No, and you know what's nice? I like to wake up about 3 a.m., go to the bathroom, come back into bed when you're real sleepy and just get all snuggly.
Yeah, it feels good.
I'm going to the doctor because I have a sensitive vocal cords. It's making me sound hoarse.
Yeah.
Your uvula?
No, it's not my uvula. It's
I just like saying it.
vocal cords.
Vulva?
No, your uvula. Yeah, the little thing that flaps around the back of your throat.
What kind of doctor do you think I'm going to?
I don't know.
Well, not one.
What do I
that's
know?
Measuring my vulva.
Listen,
You know, we had a vulva.
I'm
didn't
not
we,
here to
once?
I'm not here to judge
Your
you.
mother got that new car.
We had a Volvo.
Oh, I'm sorry, Volvo.
We had multiple Volvos.
There's a
When she was
difference there.
driving that Volvo, she had the most protected Volvo in town. That should have been their slogan.
You know Volvo. Volvo, and I think
Protecting
it's been
Volvo
like
since 1972.
several years now. They set out with the goal that no one would ever die in one of their cars in an accident again. Now, I'm sure if you went off a cliff, I'm sure there's a possibility, but in a roadside accident.
On one particular model, I think.
Now, I don't know if they accomplished it, but they've always, since I was a kid.
I remember, now maybe this has changed since then, but there was one particular model that they were known for, the very boxy looking one, that nobody had died in, and they were quite proud of it, but they would never advertise that fact because they felt like it would then become such a big deal when somebody did.
Yeah.
So they never advertised it, but secretly they wished that they could, because they had this one model that literally they can go on and say nobody has been killed in one of our cars.
You know what's interesting? That's like one of the greatest selling propositions I've ever heard of.
Right.
And I've never heard of.
And you can't use it.
You can. I think they're wrong about that.
Because
then you say,
eventually
only
somebody
one
is going to
person has
die.
ever died in our car.
But you don't.
Only
Not
3
ma-
people
it's
have
not
ever
magical,
died in
but
our
then
car.
it's no
you
longer
don't mean
magical.
that. You say, tests show that this is the safest car that you can buy. That's all you have to say.
Well, I bet it's not that simple. Like, I'm sure there are rules.
Why, who? What rules do you think they have about what they can
Oh,
say?
I'm sure the Federal Trade Commission, the CPSC.
I mean,
I'm
listen,
sure.
let me say this. They did just fine. We're sitting here, all of us knowing in our mind that Volvo is a safe car. Now, why do we all know that like it's common knowledge? Because they knew how to advertise it. They did it the right way. They branded themselves as the safest car on the road, and here we are, decades later, all accepting it as the truth.
How did they do that? I mean, they must have done something.
They had some great campaigns. They had a campaign where a Volvo was being held up, suspended in the air, face down. Yeah. And the guy is giving a narration, and they clip the cord. It crashes straight to simulate a 40-mile-per-hour collision, straight on its nose, and then falls on its tires. And you can see that the inside cabin is in the same shape it was in before. It was a great ad.
Would open the door. He'd been in the thing the whole time to show he believes in his product.
No, but
Is
actually,
that like when the Roundup, the bear guy drank, or they told him he said it's so safe you can drink it, and then he wouldn't drink it?
No, but let me tell you what's worse. And I think it was Volvo. You could look this video up online. When they were testing their autonomous braking, he was so confident that the car would brake without hitting him that he allowed himself to stand there as one of these cars came at him at a pretty good speed, and it did not brake in time, and he got hit by the car. It's all on video. He got smashed up on the windshield.
Dummy.
Really?
Yeah, you want to talk about an ad campaign gone afoul. Oh, I believe this one is the steak Philly we're about to eat. This is thinly sliced sirloin sautéed with green peppers and onions, topped with pepper jack cheese, and served on a toasted French bread. So what they're basically telling us is this is a classic Philly cheesesteak, our way, the way that you grew up enjoying. Let's see if it's any good. I didn't. I don't like cheese.
Steakums.
Remember, yeah, which were as good a bite as you can have. You ever go to the Philly? What were the ones? Remember we went? We were in Philadelphia.
There's,
Do you remember this, Ann? And we went to Pat's, King of whatever it is. There were 2 of them, Pat's and another one.
Geno's, maybe?
Yeah. And we,
Okay.
I was a wonderful
Good bread.
father.
Good
I
bread.
took you places. Do you remember Mount Rushmore?
Yeah.
Do you remember The Little Mermaid?
The movie?
Eddie, Ed.
There was
Listen
a
to me.
mermaid in some
The human
city,
world, it's a
famous-
mess.
I don't remember that. But I do want to talk about this
Plymouth Rock
Philly.
Sandwich.
Remember that?
Plymouth Rock.
I heard
That
it's much
Philly's-
smaller than you picture.
It is.
Like it's a pebble.
And it seems like...
it's surrounded by bars. You can't really get down.
Oh, that's bull.
Yeah.
That's
you like
crap.
that Philly? I thought that was very good.
Solid. I thought the bread was excellent.
Yeah. What would you do if someone you knew was
Is this gonna
injured at
rhyme?
work
Yeah.
and they said, I work at a place where I've worked for 20 years. They've always treated me well. They're asking me not to involve a lawyer in this. And so I'm going to trust them. But I'm really hurt bad. And I can't work, probably need a surgery. Because sometimes you get that. And as you know, that can be problematic no matter how pure the intentions of the employer are. What do you tell somebody in that scenario because it's delicate, and I get where they're coming from, but often we find those people in a really bad situation really quickly.
I use the same philosophy on that as I do with all insurance claims. We live in a risky world, right? We're assessing risks all over, and we're constantly paying money to be there to protect us if one of those risks comes to fruition. People get life insurance in case someone dies unexpectedly. You get car insurance because we can all have a bad day behind the wheel. Work comp insurance exists right for this purpose. We all know that people can get hurt on the job. They do. It's a reality. And you don't have to be a construction worker. I mean, that's the kind of job it's obvious, or a fireman, it's obvious. Nurses, hairdressers, repetitive motion injuries, falling injuries, like, we know that's going to happen. That's why we require every employer to carry work comp insurance so that when these claims happen, we don't have to freak out about it. Nobody has to panic. We did what we were supposed to do. We have insurance to cover it. So in that situation, that's what I tell the person. I'm like, this is why they have the policy.
Right.
This is why we're set up this way. What happened to you happened, and now you have coverage for it, period. Would you not make a claim on your life insurance if you died?
Right. And I think what people don't realize is their employer says, please don't file a claim. And maybe they've been there forever. Their employer is honest and trying to help them, but worried about it, and doesn't realize that what can happen is there are time limits, very short notice requirements in work comp. And sometimes I've seen where an employer will say, we'll cover your medical bills. Don't worry about it. Just don't report it to work comp. The injury is more severe than they realize. They did not meet the notice requirement. Now all of a sudden there's no insurance, and the employer says, I can't afford $300,000 for a surgery. And then you're totally left holding the bag and no way to get the surgery you need.
All of the mechanisms only work if people do the process the way the process is designed to be done. And that means if you get hurt on the job, you report it to your employer. You should absolutely consult with an attorney, find out what your rights are. And then, listen, work comp in and of itself, it's very administrative as a procedure. It's not adversarial the same way that, car accident cases are. It's not as generous, but it's a process. And I mean, listen, you know me, if I was hurt on the job, I almost choked on the sandwich earlier. I would have brought the claim right against that work comp insurance. And you know what? You
should. If somebody is hurt on the job here, I want them to file a work comp. If somebody is hurt at my home, or because I am, inattentive driving and I rear end somebody, but I'm always very attentive, so that won't happen. I want them to get what they are owed. I messed up.
Exactly.
And I will own that and honor my obligations.
It's interesting. But good employers don't discourage workers from filing legitimate claims. When they say don't file a claim, they mean don't file a claim that isn't a genuine injury. If you have a genuine injury and you're entitled to compensation, a good employer, by definition, will tell you to file the claim because you were hurt on the job. Now, here's some people say, but I was hurt on the job, but it was really my fault. I wasn't paying attention.
It's not how work comp works.
Exactly, and that's so important. Most people view injuries as compensable when somebody else caused the injury, like in car accidents, and they think in workers' comp it's the same, but it is not.
That's right. And what they're really doing...
It can be your own fault.
And what they're really doing, if they say don't file a claim, they're putting their financial interests in front of your financial interests, because they're preventing you from being able to make a living going forward if you don't get the treatment you need. And they're just worried about their rates going up.
And if you do have permanent damage, like you've given something to your employer, given a part of your body, your health. We only have these parts, and then they're supposed to last us for a lifetime.
That's right.
You get a worker who gives his back to their employer, they have every right to be compensated for what happened.
I'm with you.
So, those obviously construction cases are probably the most common in the work comp world. I don't think that's surprising. It's dangerous. It's physical. It's demanding. The lifting, the weather.
A surprising fact, you just mentioned it, is how dangerous nursing
Nursing is amongst certainly that's the most popular profession that we see on claims, certainly amongst women, but even just in general, I would say after construction, nursing is probably the second most common profession.
Oh,
well, first of all, they're
would you
lifting
look
patients.
at this just appeared next to me.
Oh my!
I didn't even serve it.
A little pasta.
Oh, God bless nurses.
I'll tell you. I mean, let me tell you, they are the best. They saved my mom's life. So, for me, I look at that profession,
Angels.
Differently. But what they're asked to do is a lot. These pastas, actually, Steph would like these because these are gluten-free.
Yeah, and they're not disgusting. They're actually pretty good. Gluten-free pasta is
Okay.
always... If
You know
you
what,
can make
honestly?
a non-disgusting gluten-free pasta, you have excelled.
This red sauce
These are good.
This is the best thing that I've tasted here so far today. It's all been good, but I think this red sauce is their best.
The Alfredo's pretty good, too. Are you at all
I think
concerned
it's Alphonse.
about
See, I try to
Hantavirus
spice up,
or
petrified.
Ebola coming to a neighborhood near you?
I cleared out all the dead mice at my place.
Good. That's smart. So
He kept the
Hanta-
living ones. I don't
Well,
know if that
they're
makes
so
a
cute.
difference.
Are you more worried about that or Ebola? Ebola, basically your insides turn to liquid.
Well, the question is not which is a worse death.
Well,
I
that
think
is
that
part
for
of the
me it
question.
is.
Yeah, I mean, it could be
Well,
part
no,
of
if
the
you're going to die
evaluation.
either way, I think the question is which is more likely to get you. And my answer is neither. I don't think either of them are a concern. I think
Do
there's
you
a lot of...
remember? Let me take you back to January of 2020.
Well,
Remember, we used to read those little articles
yeah,
about, there's something going on in the
right.
in
But
the
remember,
Orient.
those were unknowns.
Yeah,
That was an
Those were
unknown-
diseases that were not.
That's
yeah,
right.
we had no idea what
We
that was
know
going to be.
Hantavirus, we know
But we don't know
Ebola.
that we have no treatment for it.
We don't.
They're letting people in
It
and
doesn't
out of
spread
country,
nearly as easily.
but it's the mortality rate is what, 10 times?
Yeah, but you gotta
I can
get it
point
to
to a lot
die.
of different diseases that have a really high mortality rate. But if you're not, I don't think about them
Ooh, you
actively.
heard that?
Yeah, I heard it. It was disgusting.
I mean, you could. There's all sorts
But
of
it's
things
hard
you
to
can
trust the idea, don't worry, it's only over there. Because we did that.
get. We didn't do it. No, we were ready for. I mean, we were. I
who
know
was
here.
ready?
Well, remember
we
also,
were ready for COVID.
it was all...
Are you kidding?
No, I'm
We
not
didn't
kidding
have
at all.
masks. They didn't have masks.
No.
We were ready.
But
I'm not
remember
saying the
also,
country was ready. I'm saying at Brown and Crouppen, we were ready.
COVID was also very different, the way it spreads.
It is.
I also think that if they do reach global pandemic status, the worst thing about how we handled COVID, I think, is eventually, and it may not be until 100 years from now, there'll be another pandemic. And if it is something that is as deadly as hantavirus or Ebola, now, if it's 100 years, people will have forgotten how we handled COVID. If it's in 5 years, you're going to see half of the United States population die because they'll just think it's all a joke and won't take it seriously, and it'll be very, very scary. I don't think either of those are going to reach that level, and I hope we never see it in our lifetime. But I think there are a lot of morons who will say, 50% chance of death, they're lying to me. I'm going out and living my life.
Yeah, that's what Meatloaf said, and I loved Meatloaf. You know that. But he was in that camp, was like, this COVID's nonsense. I'm going to live my life. And he got it and he died.
Well, he lived his life.
Yeah. For about another 6 months, and that was it.
And a lot of people did. And a lot of people died. But
you know what?
Anyway, so you didn't answer the question. Are you at all concerned that this Hantavirus or Ebola will get to a point where it's impacting our daily lives, spreading in that manner?
No.
I don't think so
No,
either.
I don't even think about it. I assume that my own stupidity will kill me at some point,
Yeah.
and it's not going to be one of those two things.
Hope you're right.
No, I don't. Okay. Can we take a pause until he's done coughing?
Yeah. I mean, right now, I'm more concerned about whatever it is you might be giving me than Hanta or Ebola,
I agree.
because this seems to be killing you.
I belong to that.
Now, do you want a cough drop now? We're going to have to... Oh boy.
No, it shucks.
Good Lord.
You what?
Yeah.
That
Anyway.
doesn't look like one of your classic ones.
Oh, I got a cornucopia of
I know.
cough drops.
Now, why do you have a cornucopia of lozenges? Why haven't you just settled in on your favorite?
Variety is the spice of life, and I have a mild cough drop addiction. Not cough syrup, cough drop.
Have you ever been hurt on a job? Have you experienced that? Have you ever had the kind of job that you could have gotten hurt on?
Yes, I've had the kind of job I could have gotten hurt on. I have not, that I can think of, gotten hurt on the job in a way.
Hold on a second. He's got a student. Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was hurt on the job.
Oh, well, you're also
Which job was that?
interrupting.
This job.
You were hurt. Oh, you were cut your finger, right?
Real bad.
Real bad. On what?
I was over at the Division of Workers' Comp, actually.
Okay.
The
And
irony.
I was sitting in
the
a
irony.
chair, and I sort of, was sitting. And I fell backwards, and I reached out, and there was some construction material in the corner. And as I reached down, I had a degloving injury of my finger.
I hate that term.
Ugh, it is
Now,
the worst term.
you
But
know-
that wasn't. Did you really have a degloving? Because I can't see any scar that would suggest a degloving.
I don't know if degloving was right.
Did
but
it
it
take
was
the
a
nail
big
off
cut.
and everything too?
No, it was on this side.
But
on
you
the
had a
inside.
third-party
Ugh.
claim then too.
Disgusting.
I did.
Now I don't even want the meatball.
But Mr. Brown said I didn't have a case.
Or was it he discouraged you from
Yeah,
making the
he
claim?
That's right.
Yeah. Well,
He said if you filed that claim, you're out.
Has such a hard time
And
remembering
I
that
had
we're
small children.
dependent
I
upon
did.
the microphone
I
on
was a
this show.
victim of this time.
yeah. No, it sounds like you really were.
But
No,
you
that's
know
all
that
true.
is an important thing, the third party element. Workers' compensation is by statute the exclusive remedy when you are hurt on the job.
Yes.
However, oftentimes, for instance, you're driving a company vehicle in the course and scope of work, but you are rear-ended by Vicky, who does not work with you. Now there's a third party involved who you can seek a settlement against them also. Why is that significant? Because work comp is really designed just for compensating you for the permanency of any disability. There's no pain and suffering, and the settlements and trial verdicts are generally significantly smaller for the exact same injury that you would have in a car accident. So when you have a third party involved, generally you can get much more and much fairer amounts of compensation. So what's the lesson?
What are you doing?
So number one, don't touch the microphones. Number two, probably call a lawyer if you're hurt at work, because there's a lot that needs to be done and needs not to be done
And I
early
must
on.
say, in all seriousness,
Yeah?
we have accumulated some of the finest workers' comp lawyers in Missouri and Illinois and Kansas and wherever we practice. And it's always amazing to see the results that they get for their clients.
Does a work injury have you flat on your back with no pay? We're Brown and Crouppen. Call us anytime for free at 222-2222 or online at getbc.com. Harlan Schillinger. You remember old Harlan?
I see him all the time.
I saw him being interviewed the other day, and he said something that really resonated with me. And I think it's true, and I'm not trying to degrade any individual involved in this practice of law, but I'm going to. So years ago, when Ed and I first started, certainly, but even more so when you first started advertising on television, other lawyers hated you. Members of the community hated you just because you had the audacity to advertise on TV. You were seen as scum of the earth. You really were. All of us.
I don't think you have to describe it anymore.
No. The profession, people in this profession were looked down upon. But that did not deter you or us, because we knew that what we were doing was the right thing, providing legal services to people who did not have access to the civil justice system. I know a lot of people who are your age who have been doing it for this long, who are some of the finest people I know, the best intentioned, moral, ethical, just good human beings. And they got into this business because they wanted to help people.
Yeah.
And what Harlan was saying is the first generation of legal advertisers, and Harlan's a guy who's been in this business for almost as long as you have, so he's seen the progression of who is in this profession. I think then what happened is other lawyers said, oh, Terry's in a business where there's no competition because nobody wants to do it because they're looked down on, and he's doing well for himself. So then slowly other lawyers crept into this profession, and what Harlan was saying is especially the newest crop of people, and there are a lot of them, and lead generators, it's a cash grab. They are in this because they see that there is money. The thought of helping the client is secondary at best. And he's really saying that the first generation of people in this firm, the oldest firms in every city, were in it for the right reasons, did the right things by the client. And now he's not seeing that anymore. And he's a guy who does this all across the country.
Well, listen, folks, you're hearing that straight from Harlan Schillinger. I know that you don't know him, but believe me when I tell you, the man knows what he's talking about, and he's right. I do think that the firms, because I know firms in a lot of different markets, the firms that have been there the longest are the ones that are doing it for the right reasons. And then you get all the new faces, and the new faces, it's just business for them.
But let me say this. I know some of you out there will hear this, say, oh, those lawyers, they're all making a fortune. You know, the thing is, we're lucky people. We found a profession that not only do we help people and really change lives for the better, we do make a nice living, and it's nice. I would never say that the money has nothing to do with how I feel about my profession. It's nice. We work hard. We earn a fair return for what we do, and we get to help people. I think we're the luckiest people in the world.
Well, I think the luckiest is that we work on a contingent basis. I mean, what other profession? There are very few. They're not none, but there are very few professions that basically say, if we're not successful, if we don't accomplish the goal, you don't owe us anything. I mean, think about, you want to fix healthcare in this country, make that the standard. You only have to pay if they cure you. If you only have to pay when they cure you, that becomes a good deal for everybody. If you could eliminate all the waste and money for all the treatments that are done that don't make any difference whatsoever, we wouldn't have a healthcare problem. Notice when people look at personal injury, there are people out there that hate it when they hear that some business is being held accountable and has to pay a bunch of money. But for the most part, we haven't destroyed the legal system of the country.
Yeah.
We make it work for people, because they don't have to pay out of their pocket. To me, that's the best thing that we do.
Have you ever had these moments? I know the answer is yes.
Wait, meatball break.
Oh, meatball. Let's go to
meatball break.
Meatball break.
Meatball
now,
break. Meatball
for
break.
those just joining us,
Meatball break.
everybody should know that if a restaurant has a meatball sandwich, it is an automatic order for us. We're big fans of meatballs here. This is a meatball sandwich. I think it's on garlic cheese bread, just to make sure it's unhealthy.
We saved the best for last. This is the best thing they have on their menu. That's a good meatball.
Better than the gluten-free pasta?
Yeah, that's a good meatball. And you know what? I laughed earlier because they referred to them as tender balls. But I got to tell you, these are tender balls.
They are.
They call them tender balls?
They did it. What do you?
That's funny.
Oh.
You know, it's interesting.
If you're in junior high school.
That's good. That's
better than beef, generally.
What do you like better than beef?
Ground beef better than beef.
Oh, you know what I do. If we are going to a steakhouse, if I find myself at a steakhouse, I get a burger every time because it's great cuts of meat, the scraps made into a burger. Every time.
Yeah.
Every time. Because I don't love steak either. I prefer ground beef.
Me too.
So this phenomenon where you've never heard of something, you're totally unaware of its existence, whether it's a thing or a word or a saying, and you hear about it and it's brought to your attention, and then
you start hearing it all the
time.
Then
you hear it all the time. Now, I think sometimes it's just a matter of, for whatever reason, you never heard of it, and now that you heard of it, it perks your ears up. But I think there's more to it.
There is more. I actually read a whole thing on this, but give me what you found out. I'll tell you what I found out.
I don't know what the more is. It could be your belief in a higher power. It could be. But so two things happened recently. Number one, I'm on a Zoom call with somebody. This is about 2 weeks ago. And they used the expression, oh, we'll share everything. We'll open our kimono. I'd never heard that
Never
before.
heard that.
May or may not be slightly racist, I don't know, but I'm going to put that aside. That same day at dinner, I'm talking to somebody else, and they say something to the effect of, we're an open book, happy to open our kimono for you. Twice in one day. Had never heard that expression before.
That's very strange.
Very strange. Now, a little different scenario that I think is going to throw a wrench in whatever theory you have. I'm talking to somebody I know, and somebody I don't speak to often. They're living in like I think an assisted living type facility, not just living on their own. And they said to me, they are moving into a place
It's an empty box.
called the Independence Center. Are you listening?
Yeah. Independence Center.
Independence
Okay.
Center.
15 minutes later, I never heard of the Independence Center. Maybe I've heard of it, but I don't know anyone who lives there. 15 minutes later, I go somewhere, and I'm trying to protect the identity, so I'll be a little vague. I go somewhere.
Just say you're
I
fine.
run into a guy who I don't know, but I see around town every now and again, who has some special needs. And I think some people would probably guess that he is or has been unhoused at some point. And he says to me, I said, how you been? Good to see you, whatever. I'm talking to him. And he said, oh, well, things are good. I'm moving into the Independence Center next week. What are the odds? Like those kind of things. I don't know, the Independence Center, twice in 15 minutes, the open kimono. It is very strange how those things kind of sometimes happen in quick succession you weren't thinking of, and you're just like, how is that possible?
Now, this is what
What's the
science would say.
theory?
Now,
Give me
of
the
course, let's not ignore the fact that coincidences do happen. So you have to account for
No
that.
doubt.
But what they suggested scientifically, because a lot of times it'll happen, a word I've never heard of before, and now I've heard the word 3 times in a 2-week period. And what they said happens is this, that our brain, because of limited capacity at any given moment, it can only
Ain't
hold
that the
so
truth?
many relevant facts. So we have our short-term memory and our long-term memory. And as we're getting new information, it's housed in our short-term memory for a period of time until our brain decides it's not that important, it's not relevant to daily life, we don't need it, and it shifts that stuff while we sleep to our long-term memory. So what happens is every new bit of information we take in is fresh, and it's right there in our short term. So for a period of about 2 weeks, if anything comes up a second time, our brain assumes that it might be relevant because it's now being repeated in a short period of time, and so it highlights it for us. So it'll notice it, it picks it up on it, it makes us conscious of it, and then we make a decision, is that just a weird coincidence, or was that something actually important? Once it gets to about 2 weeks, and your brain has determined it's not important, it's in your long-term memory, you won't feel that way about it at all. It's just during that little period where it's trying to figure out if some new piece of information is ultimately important or not.
You guys and that mic. And why do you put the cup so close to the edge? Like that'll end up in Ed's lap for sure.
Lives wild.
Yeah, he does.
known this about him. He's a risk taker.
He is.
He's a wild, unpredictable man.
Can I make a comment about your comment?
Yeah. That's what this show is.
That's how a conversation works.
Isn't this interesting? Because you hear the same exact thing about your devices in your home.
What do you mean?
You know, you say, I was...
That's because they are listening to.
well, that's what I mean.
Oh, yeah, that's
But
not
do you
that's not
understand?
a
This is the same exact phenomenon by 2 totally different causes. You know?
Well,
'Cause
one
when you
is
said it,
intentional.
I thought, well, maybe, I guess if there were statements made to you by somebody, that it has to be different. The other thing, the center, do you remember? Well, they were both from people.
There were people I knew,
Yeah.
both people,
Yeah.
in 15 minutes. Oh, yeah, moving into the Independence Center.
But look at the commonality between the two things. The first piece of information, in both cases, it was brand new information for you.
Yeah.
You had never heard the phrase before, and you had never heard of that place before. So again, in your brain, when they came up a second time, instead of it
Yeah,
being
no, I get
lost
that.
in everything, it was highlighted.
But on top of all that, both of the people were people I may hear from or run into twice a year. So the fact that on top of all of that one called and then I ran into the other 15 minutes from one another added this element. It was a remarkable thing. And those kind of things, and again, some of them are coincidences, like you say.
Where's the gluten-free desserts we were promised? I
What?
saw a big. I
Oh
saw
my
a
God,
note
I'm
on
gonna
there
have to
saying
call
all of their
Steph.
pastas and desserts are gluten-free. Are you putting up a sign that says last bite? I assume it's going to be dessert. We got screwed.
So there's no dessert?
There'll be.
That's messed up.
I was promised
You know-
promised dessert.
All right.
One segment we haven't done in a long
I
time.
love how they don't tell us that till we're done recording.
And I'm only bringing this up because I got something.
Oh.
Things that really grind your gears. What's really getting to you lately? Something that's bugging you.
All right. Well, I see.
I know you got something.
Give me any advanced thought on that.
Well, you want me to tell this so you have a minute to think?
Yeah, tell it.
Here's what bothers me.
Now I'll think.
I've always listened to a lot of hip hop music. And I've never really totally loved a lot of white rappers. Just haven't. They're not that some of them aren't talented, but with the exception of Eminem, most of them are not.
Isn't that amazing
Anyway.
how he
Well,
really broke in with
Well,
everybody else?
I think there's a lot of things that go into that. I think part of it is, some of it is just, this is an art form that came from a specific culture that people weren't a part of. And you know, like there's a guy, Lord Jamar, who was from a band Brand Nubian, who said that white people are guests in the house of hip hop, largely because they are separate from the culture that birthed
I
it.
think that's
Anyway.
a fair statement.
So that's sort of the backstory. What I'm seeing now is there are a lot of these young white rappers trying to make it in hip hop, which I already had my eye on. I was looking at them sideways to begin with. And so many of them now have decided they've just gone country now. And it proves to me that they were in it for the wrong reasons. This isn't my culture. I'm trying to make money, grabbing as a Johnny come lately, Chanel West Coast. I'm talking to you. Chet Hanks, Tom Hanks' very own son, is guilty of it as well. They've all just said, I'm done with hip hop. I'm a country music artist now.
I took you to see the Fresh Boys when you
No,
were like
no.
9
There
years
is no
old.
Fresh Boys.
Or Dougie Fresh.
We went to see Dougie Fresh. We went to the
and we-
Swatch Watch, the Fresh Festival.
Yes, we did. And we had the Fat Boys.
They were there. I think Run DMC was there.
Yes. So
But what I'm saying to you is, somebody who doesn't
Street
belong
cred.
somewhere, but is
My
doing
dad
it
just took me to
for
museums.
money or fame, but acts like they're doing it for because they love it, and then just, oh wait, I can make more money over here. So instead of being a car salesman, I'm going to go sell diamond rings. I never really loved cars in the first place, like I
what
said.
about Beyonce?
What about her?
Didn't she do that?
Do what?
Change the country music?
She did one
No.
album.
No. Oh,
No,
God.
it was a
Wait, hold
huge
on.
thing,
Oh,
wasn't it?
God. Oh, God. Jen's going to attack. No.
Didn't she?
So
But that one
no.
album,
But
she brought her own flair.
She experimented.
And she won Album of the Year with it, by the way.
In
And she started
fairness,
Which is
wearing
why she
cowboy
did it.
hats.
but in fairness,
It was a great album, but I
There
think
are-
she did it. Yeah.
And I'm saying,
and there are probably people in the country music world who felt like, what's she doing around
I'm
here?
sure she did.
Except that one song was so catchy, it was almost beyond
That's right. And
criticism.
she has every right to experiment with different genres.
Do whatever she
But-
wants.
But you're being a little bit,
What?
there are elements of the same thing. She thought she could make, she thought she could
Well, she didn't do
try
it for
a
the money.
different-
She
No
did
doubt.
it for Album of the Year.
She did, but
Okay,
the
then
difference
same
is
thing.
She did it for Album of the Year.
the difference is she put out a few songs. She didn't say, "I'm no longer Beyonce, the R&B singer. I am now
Icon.
going full country,
Icon. We don't know how to
starts
say
dressing
singer.
country, starts talking country, and totally reinvents who she is as a person. It's the personality even changes.
Well, but you at least acknowledge there are real similarities there.
Well, there are a lot of artists who experiment in other genres.
You know what sucks, though? It sucks doing something that you really don't want to do just because for the money. It sounds like we'd all do it, and we all have a price, and we've all done it at some point. We've all at some point done something that was for the money.
It isn't something we should criticize.
But you know what, though? We've all done it, but I got to tell you, my experience with it wasn't worth it. It sucked.
It's like the people who, when you knew when you were younger, who 1 minute were goth, the next year they were hip hop, the next year they were stoners, the next year they were, it's
Everyone's just trying to find their place.
Yeah, but
No.
I think a lot of it's very performative.
Sometimes,
Well,
but
course
a
it
lot
is,
of it's
but
trying to
I
fit
don't
in.
think- I'm just saying, first of all, I was going to ask you about, what's his name? Eminem, who I'm interested in.
Yeah.
How did he grow up? Did he grow up? I could see if a white guy was put in, basically lived a black life because of economics or whatever, it wouldn't be that unusual for a guy to genuinely feel like a rapper.
No doubt. I think Eminem
Did he?
grew up in a predominantly black neighborhood.
You can keep pointing
with
to it.
predominantly black friends.
So that's
in
that,
a
that makes sense.
relatively poor area of Detroit.
If you
And-
figure out how to wrap
but
them
there's
up,
still
go
let me
for it.
say this. There's something about him. Eminem has one of the greatest masteries of the English language of anyone who has ever lived on this planet.
He's phenomenal.
I genuinely believe
but that's
that.
not really where his talent is. You know
Okay,
where his
but-
talent
Oh,
is?
it's
his
time for the
ability to be
last
raw.
bite.
It's his ability to be real.
It's
His
all of
ability
it.
to share his pain
See, I
with no
made
filter.
that up.
But
The last bite. It's
What's that?
time for the last
Yeah.
bite.
Anyway.
Because we've been talking a long time.
Yeah.
And I think we should wrap it up with the last bite, which might be a personal statement by each one of us about what we want out of life.
huh.
Jeez, that's heavy. I
Maybe
still haven't
just
come up with something
I
that
just
grinds my
want to
gears.
live for one more bite.
That's it.
Yeah.
I think you should aim higher. That's really that's virtually.
Okay, a lot
what you're
more
basically
bites.
saying is, I just
Yeah.
want to choke on the next thing I eat.
Okay, let's try that again.
Yeah, a little bit more
Health,
ambition.
happiness, and love for myself, my family, and everybody who is near and dear to me
What
forever,
about- and
for all of an
everybody-
eternity.
And everybody, I think a president
Peace on earth for all
someday
men
is
and
gonna
women.
end a speech by saying, "And God bless America and every other human being on the planet." And we will have crossed that terrific milestone.
Oh yeah,
when
that milestone. That person will be booted out of this by half the
Well,
people the next day.
someday-
What happened? What happened to Mr. Last Bite?
Oh, that was my last bite.
A quick plug for the local house in Arnold. Some tasty
Good stuff.
food at a reasonable price, and a little love for if you haven't been to the Skyview Drive-In movie theater. They are out there in Belleville, Illinois, and it's one of the last great drive-in theaters I think we have in the entire market.
They have a
Check it
concession.
out. They do, and they also, we are sponsoring them for the summer. So if you do go, you might get a glimpse of some exclusive content that you're not going to see anywhere else. It's only for the big screens at the Skyview Drive-In movie theater. So
Don't
check that
tell
out.
anybody about it.
No, tell everybody about it.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
We're
no,
not in it
All right,
for the
that's it. We'll see you in season 4.
goodbye. That's a wrap.
Brown and Crouppen. It's always free to call.